Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Gaur Hari Bol. Hari Bol. We'll sing the Mangalacharan prayer. Om Ajnantimirandasya Jnananjanashalakhaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Welcome to the NOI class. So, does anyone remember? Thank you. What we studied, discussed last time? Anyone? Yes, Prabhu.
So we were discussing about Jana Sangha, like associating with the devotees and associating with the people who are not devotees. So
Right.
it was mentioned that we should give our association to who are not devotees.
Right.
We should not take their association.
Right. We also
seniors only we should take association. Senior devotees we should take association for.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
we should look for senior devotees to associate with them, because
Right.
that will increase our bhakti
Right.
and give us knowledge. And
Right.
If we are associating with someone junior,
Mhm.
so we should not, like, we should give them what we have,
Right.
like in terms of knowledge and association.
Like we should give our association,
Yeah.
right?
And
Okay.
we should not take association from them because they haven't reached at certain level, and if we take association from them, we
Mhm.
would have, like,
Right.
our mindset would go in wrong direction.
Right. What about peers? Those who are equal to us?
For juniors, I think we should be compassionate. For like the
Yeah.
ones who are equal with us, we should be equal with them, like
Yeah.
as friends with them.
Absolutely.
And
So, yeah,
then
absolutely.
moral service.
So Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada mentions this in the coming, like, future verses of NOI, that with equals we should have a friendship, relation of friendship, like, dadati prati granati, goyam akhyati prachati, bhungte pujati chaiva, shadvidam priti lakshanam. So he talks about 6 kinds of relationship with equals, which will come, I think, in future. In, I think, text 4 or 5 it is. But yeah, that's for equals. Amazing. I think we also discussed the types of prayas. There were 3 types. Yes, Prabhu.
There's karma prayas, jnana prayas, and yoga siddhi prayas.
Right. What is karma prayas? Somebody else.
Over here. I forgot what prayas means, but let me guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's like over endeavoring, doing things for good results.
Yes.
Jnana
What is karma
is
prayas?
Karma prayas is fruitive activities for
Right.
results.
And what was the example we discussed in karma prayas?
Oh, okay. Like somebody works really hard to provide a house for his family, and
Right.
then in the next life he takes birth as like an ant in that same house.
We discussed one example from the scripture.
Oh.
Anybody remember? Yes, Prabhu.
No.
Trishanku from Ramayana.
Oh, Trishanku.
Trishanku.
The ancestor of Lord Rama.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Karamnasha.
Sorry?
Karamnasha is the nadi that takes away
Okay.
all the good deeds. Karamnasha.
Oh. So we discussed Trishanku, and then what was the second prayas?
Yeah.
Jnana prayas.
What did we discuss in that? What is Gyan prayas?
Overly trying to acquire knowledge.
Yes, and I remember you gave an example on that.
Professor.
Yeah, library.
Oh yeah, libraries, yes. Libraries.
Yeah, what was the example from scripture we discussed?
I think
Yeah, yeah.
Ravana.
Yeah, we also discussed about Brahmaji.
Oh yeah.
Okay, what is the third prayas?
Yoga siddhi.
Yogas.
Yes, what is that?
Trying to acquire yogic siddhis, but not for like for Krishna
Is austerities also?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Austerities for material benefit, for perfection, material perfection. Example? From start.
Basketball players and football players and all, they.
Yeah.
Become, like perfect,
Scripture example.
Oh, scripture.
General is good, but scripture also.
Maybe the Roma, she wanted to become greater than.
In a way, yes. Hiranyakashipu, right? Okay, yeah. What else we discussed? One more example. Vishwamitra Muni. So Vishwamitra Muni did penances to become a Brahma Rishi. Remember that?
I didn't.
I don't know.
I discussed that.
We discussed this. Vishwamitra Muni. Anyways, not a problem. Not a problem. So we'll continue from where we left. I think we stopped at this. I think after that para from Srila Bhakti-Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada.
You stopped at Karmi's labor to achieve.
Yeah, that. You wanna read from there?
Yeah.
Yes.
So Karmis labor to accumulate more and more money for future generations, only because they do not know their future position. Interested only in getting more and more money for their sons and grandsons, such foolish persons do not even know what their position is going to be in their next life. There are many incidents that illustrate this point. Once a great Karmi accumulated a vast fortune for his sons and grandsons, but later, according to his karma, he took his birth in a cobbler's house located near the building which, in his previous life, he had constructed for his children. It so happened that when this very cobbler came to his former house, his former sons and grandsons beat him with shoes. Unless the Karmis and Gnanis become interested in Krishna consciousness, they will simply continue to waste their life in fruitless activities.
Yeah. So what do we learn from this? What do we learn? Yes. Anybody? Sorry.
you can't live through your kids.
But what is the essence behind this story of sharing this pastime by Prabhupada? What is he trying to say?
Whatever good we may think we're doing now, it cannot necessarily yield a positive result in our next life.
Absolutely. So Prabhupada is trying to say that whatever efforts we do to get some material benefits or any prayers that we do for demigods, for any material benedictions, those results are temporary. And only Krishna consciousness is eternal. The efforts endeavor for bhakti. We'll see this. There is a verse on this in Gita. Antavattu phalam tesham tadbhavati alpamedasham devan devaya joyanti madbhakta yanti mamapi. Translation? Yes?
Men of small intelligence worship the demigods and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods and my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet.
Amazing, right?
Yeah.
Any example? Practical example of this, like material. Okay, I'm saying practical example, bro. And it from the real life. I mean, yeah.
Like
Prabhupada, Swami Prabhupada, he
No.
never worshipped demigods, he worshipped.
Yeah, no, what I'm trying to say is practical example of people worshipping demigods or people trying to attain things, siddhi, which is very temporary in nature.
So last week I gave the example of Aishwarya Rai and Abhishek Bachchan.
Uh-huh.
So they did some yagyas for their wedding, right? So that they wouldn't have like it wouldn't be like astrologically they would maybe not
Yeah.
so compatible, but they were trying to appease the demigods so that
Right.
their charts would be
Right.
matched.
Right. You had a.
yeah, because in it's like a tradition of worshipping Durga Mata for that and Lakshmi Mata to get wealth. To start anything, they worship Lord Ganesha, and to the production, they
Right.
worship Lord Hanuman.
Yes. So there is one example from the scripture. Does anybody remember this pastime? Who can guess?
Is this Chitraki?
Yes. All right.
Oh,
Chitraki?
So here,
Chitraketu.
if if you know the pastime, it is where Chitraketu Maharaj actually prayed to Angira Muni for a boon of having a son, because he was childless, right? Uh, so eventually Angira Muni blessed him with that. But what happened? Child could not survive, and child was, the interesting part is, child was given a name of Harsha Shloka by Angira Muni himself. He said this child will give you lamentation, but it will also be a reason for your jubilation. So that's why its name is Harsha Shloka. Now eventually when child died, Narad Muni came along with Angira Muni, and then he made his soul back into that body. And when the child woke up, so he was actually telling me, who am I? Like, I don't belong. He's not my father. He was addressing to Chitraketu Maharaj. And that's why Chitraketu Maharaj realized that, these things are temporary. Whatever material benediction we get in this life. So yeah. So what do we do then? If you shouldn't pray for demigods, pray to demigods, what should we do? Yes. There is a verse also on this. Verse 2.40. Neha vikramam nastosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpam api asya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Anybody? Translation, yes, bro.
In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear.
Right. So Krishna is giving assurance that whatever efforts, endeavor we are putting in bhakti, it doesn't go waste. It continues from where we left. I mean, you can take from a personal example only that.
You can't see it, so it's
Okay.
shifting.
So you can take from a personal example only. Like, most of you, when you got connected, introduced to through someone in bhakti, you felt, this I've done something, this I've done in the past, right? How many of you had that realization? I've done this before, or I knew Prabhupada from before, or I've heard this mantra before. How many had that experience?
Maybe to some degree.
To some degree? Because I remember, when I was a kid, I used to watch, like we had a TV and it was a black and white TV, and then there was some videos playing on of, Prabhupada and then devotees dancing the kirtan. I didn't recollect that time. I saw it for a few seconds, and then when I got connected, I realized, okay, Prabhupada, I've seen him before. Then I realized, okay, this is from the past. Anybody else want to share their experience of how, what real experience they had when they got connected?
And after Aarti, there is a shlok they say, and I never knew any shlok,
Mm-hmm.
never. But when I listen to them, I feel like I'm reciting in my mind. But it's not something that I know about it.
I know one very senior Vaishnava, he shared this in a class that when he started reading Bhagavatam, Gita, Bhagavatam and all these verses, he mentioned, it was very much familiar to him, all these verses. And that's why when he started reading, he picked up quickly. And now he is a scholar of Bhagavatam and Gita. So we may not know what efforts we put in bhakti in our previous lives, and because of that we are here. Some people may not start from zero. I'm sure the kind of progress you guys have made, I'm sure you guys have not started from zero in this life. There must be some past life karma, some past life activities in bhakti, and that's why you have started from where you are right now. Let's see what scriptures say about this. What pastime is this?
Bharat Maharaj.
Yes. You want to share the story as well?
Yeah, so he was a great devotee of the Lord.
Yeah.
But when he went to the forest just to do the tapasya and austerity, he got attracted to one deer and he
Right.
was taking care like a parent.
Mm-hmm.
So at the time of death, he was instead of thinking about Krishna, he was thinking about deer.
Mm.
So in the next life he became a deer.
Right. And in the body of a deer also he remembered his bhakti, the mistake he did in the past life. And then eventually, if you see, he was not associating with other deers when he was in the body of deer. He was associating with sadhus, going to their ashrams, visiting their ashrams, listening to the Krishna Katha that was going on in the ashram. And eventually, when he died in the body of a deer, he he received a body of a human being. Then he became Jad Bharat. Even in the body of Jad Bharat, he never associated with his family members. He was considered a madman. He's a pagal. So he never associated with them. He was always aloof. So that's how it is. So bhakti, the efforts that we put in bhakti never dies with the body. It continues from one body to another. It's just that we pick up from where we'll stop in the last life. Any questions so far? No? Okay. Who will read next? Yes.
Again?
Or you can.
Back and forth?
You know it like that? Okay, please.
You guys are done. It's me a story now.
No. Accepting some of the scriptural rules and regulations for immediate benefit as utilitarian advocate is called niyamagraha, and neglecting the rules and regulations of the Shastras, which are meant for spiritual development, is called niyama agraha. The word agraha means eagerness to accept, and agraha means failure to accept. By addition of either of these two words to the word niyama, rules and regulations, the word niyamagraha is formed. Thus, niyamagraha has a twofold meaning that is understood according to the particular combination of words. Those interested in Krishna consciousness should not be eager to accept the rules and regulations for economic advancement, yet they should very faithfully accept scriptural rules and regulations for the advancement of Krishna consciousness. They should strictly follow the regular principles by avoiding illicit sex, meat eating, gambling, and intoxication.
Amazing, no? Niyamagra, the fifth principle of this verse. What does it mean? Let's look at it. So Prabhupada divided this paragraph into two, like Niyamagra word into two. Like one is, it has a twofold meaning. One is Niyamagra and one is Niyamagra. So Niyamagra means following rules and regulations just for the sake of following them and not understanding a purpose, meaning behind it. And Niyamagra means not following anything, like neglecting our duties, responsibilities, rules and regulations. So Niyamagra are the people who are smarta. Like smarta Brahmins, we have seen, in some of the parts of southern India, we have seen there are smarta Brahmins who follow rules and regulations so strictly that sometimes you actually lose the essence of why we're doing this ritual, right? And whereas Sahajiyas are actually those people who don't follow any rules and regulations. And you might have seen some of these people in Vrindavan. Like they must be dancing in front of Radha Shamsundar deity without understanding scriptures, without following any rules and regulations. They're just dancing. They feel that we are part of the Ras Leela of Krishna. So that is also not right. We shouldn't be a smartha, we shouldn't be a sahajiya. And if you see, Prabhupada also mentions two things in Niyamagra. One is people who follow rules and regulations for the sake of following them, they do it for utilitarian benefit. What does it mean? What does it mean?
Materialistic benefit.
Yeah. For example, people sometimes avoid eating certain foods like meat or fish or anything for health benefits, not for pleasing Krishna or not for anything else, but just for health benefits. So that is utilitarian benefit.
Which benefit?
Utilitarian.
No, you said health benefits.
Health benefits, right. Now second, Prabhupada talks about economic development. Any example from this? Like day-to-day example.
People come to temple and pray for better.
Yes, yes. Right. And then people do yagyas or having a progeny or for having a big property or anything else. Right? That is economic development. So Prabhupada highlighted two aspects of why people follow rules and regulations. Now, what is this pastime about? It's an example of Niyamagra.
It's the wives of the Brahmanas.
Yes. So here if you see this pastime, Krishna's and his friends, cowherd boys and calves, they were playing in the forest, Vrindavan forest, and then suddenly they felt hungry. And then Krishna requested one of his friends to go and ask the Brahmanas who were performing yajna nearby to get food for them because they were hungry. So their friends, the Gopas, they went, they asked for Brahmanas, and they were so busy in their yagyas, they ignored the cowherd boys. But there were Brahman Patnis who were actually paying attention to them, and they received them properly, and they actually fed them, and they also brought food for Krishna and his friends. So you'll see from this example that there were Brahmanas who were actually performing yagyas as per the scriptural rules and regulations, but they were neglecting the essence of all these rules and regulations, that whatever we do it to attain Krishna, right? We shouldn't do anything which doesn't lead us to that goal of Krishna Prem, Krishna Bhakti, right? So there is a very sweet verse in this connection, the meaning of niyama in Madhya Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita, the purpose of niyama. Smartavya sattam Vishnur Vismartavyo na jatuchit Sarve vidhi nishedhashur etayor eva kinkaraha. Yes, bro.
Krishna is the origin of Lord Vishnu. He should always be remembered and never forgotten at any time. All the rules and prohibitions mentioned in the Shastras should be the servants of these two principles.
So you see that the purpose of our bhakti is to always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. This verse states that, and even Prabhupada has mentioned that in many of his classes. And every other principle should be subservient to this principle, these two principles. Right? How beautiful this verse is. Now there is a class which Prabhupada gave in Vrindavan on Bhagavatam. Does anybody want to read? Yes.
So because a sannyasi has to walk, therefore I shall walk throughout the whole life to go to America. Laugh. This is foolishness. If I can go to America within 15 hours for preaching facility, why shall not I use the airplane? Why shall I stick? It is called niyamagraha, without any profit. To follow the regular principle without any profit. No. If we get opportunity, preaching facility for going on car, on airplane, using typewriter, dictaphone, microphone, we must use it. Because it is Krishna's property. It must be used for Krishna. This is our philosophy. Lecture on Srimad from 7.9.55.
Yeah, so if you see Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, he was the first person in our sampradaya who actually wore Western clothes when going for preaching. I mean, wherever it was needed, he used to wear Western clothes, even though he was a sannyasi, because as per scriptures, sannyasis shouldn't wear any other clothes. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur wore it. Why? Practical application of bhakti. Same thing if you see, Prabhupada did one amazing thing in ISKCON. As per Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, person who chants less than 64 rounds daily is fallen, right? And that's the rule for Gaudiya Math. But what Srila Prabhupada did for us?
16.
He reduced it to 16. He was very practical. He knew how his disciples and his grand disciples would be. And if you see even in present day, if you see our sannyasis, our brahmacharis, when they travel to communist countries, they wear formals. They wear plain clothes. They don't wear their traditional attire, because they know that for preaching, whatever is needed, I'll do that. Because ultimately the purpose of niyama is to always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. Yes. So the understanding is that without compromising the principles, if we are able to connect with our audience, that is how we should be behaving in our achar, right? And sometimes for higher principles, we have to sacrifice lower principles. So what do I mean by that? So I remember sharing this pastime with some of you, I think a couple of weeks back. So this is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Antaleela. So there was in Puri, in Jagannath temple, so there was a huge crowd for taking darshan of Jagannath Ji. Now, because of the crowd, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not able to see Jagannath Ji because it was so crowded, the temple hall. So Mahaprabhu stood beside Garuda Stambh there, because from there he could actually have a good darshan, good view. And there was one lady who was standing behind him. She actually climbed on Garuda Stambh, put one foot on Garud's thumb, one foot on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's shoulder. And Mahaprabhu's secretary, Govinda, he actually chastised her. He said, come down, what are you doing? You are actually offending Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu stopped Govinda. And you know what did he say? Tara arti dekhi prabhu kahi tela gila, eta arti jagannatha mora nahi dila. Seeing the woman's eagerness, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Lord Jagannath has not bestowed so much eagerness upon me. Right? So that is the meaning of understanding rules and regulations. Not for the sake of following them, but understanding the meaning behind it. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally lived by that example. Right? I'm not saying this should be a regular, regular activity. Exceptional cases would be there. I remember when Brahmachari was sharing this example wherein he had a daily routine, that he finishes his 16 rounds before 7:30 a.m. in the morning. That is his regular routine. And everybody else is being informed that he is not to be disturbed before that time. And he is a temple president of his temple. So being a temple president, being a leader, he has a lot of responsibilities. But till 7:30, nobody disturbs him. It's only after 7:30 they will start reaching out to him. Now what happened? One day his Guru Maharaj came. And he was staying there in the ashram. And he told him that, I'm going back to my, city, home city. So I want you to accompany me, because I wanted to discuss some matters with you which I couldn't because of my busy schedule. But I would like if you could join me, and we can discuss in the car. He said, okay. He joined. Right? Even though he had to sacrifice his morning japa, because they have to leave early morning, 5 a.m. He had to sacrifice, but then somehow he compensated that afterwards. But that's what he was saying, that this shouldn't be our regular affair. Like every day we shouldn't compromise our japa in the morning. Exceptional cases would be there. So the higher principle was serving Guru, following the instructions of Guru. Right? What he has said for himself was a lower principle according to him. Like finishing his round by 7:30 a.m. But that's what Prabhupada also explained, taught us by his personal example, that we should be ready to sacrifice lower principles for higher principles. I remember there was one pastime of Prabhupada, if you remember, Prabhupada, there's Janeva pastime. Like there was this, so there was a microphone like this, and Prabhupada was actually was going to give class. Now thing is, this was not balanced, it was falling down again and again. And there were some sannyasi disciples of Prabhupada sitting there, Brahmin disciples sitting there. And Prabhupada immediately asked one person, okay, give me your Janu. He tied it and started giving class. Now if you see, as a Brahmana, you are not supposed to remove a Janu. Never. If you remove it, you have to replace it with a new one immediately. But Prabhupada is Prabhupada. I remember there was another example wherein Jadurani Mataji, now she was looking for a place to hang a painting of Radha Krishna in Prabhupada's room, and she was not finding a proper place. Finally, she found one place, but that place was at a little height. So what Mataji did, she actually climbed on the Vyasasana of Prabhupada, like the asana of Prabhupada, where Prabhupada used to sit, and she hung the painting. Now there was certain disciples of Prabhupada who was there, and they actually chastised her. Why did you do this? Prabhupada came, Prabhupada heard everything, and Prabhupada said, it's okay. For Krishna's service, even if you have to climb my shoulder, I'm fine with that. So that's Acharya, right? Any personal example you want to share? Yes, Prabhu.
I want to share two things.
Yes.
I heard that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also drove a convertible.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to show that although he was a renunciate, he was still because of his serving Krishna, he was still very opulent.
Absolutely.
And another example that I heard is once there was a sannyasi and another devotee walking, but there was a lady that needed help crossing a bridge, and so the sannyasi helped her cross the bridge.
Yeah.
And normally sannyasi
shouldn't touch.
But
yeah.
He just helped her cross the bridge.
Yeah.
And then the person who was with him was like, "Oh, you helped her," and
Yeah.
he was like, "Yeah, I helped her for that one moment, but you're still thinking about
Yeah.
her." So
Yeah.
it's like. So yeah, I wanted to share that, and I felt that it was maybe a little relevant to this.
Absolutely. Thank you, Prabhu. you also want to share something?
I
Dhruv?
also had something from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. So basically, he had these three things told by his guru that not to do these things,
Yeah.
and actually he did all these things.
Yeah.
So like one of them was like you should not go to Kolkata, but then he was
Yeah.
like no, I never went to Kolkata. I went to Gaudiya Math to preach, right? So in that way, he like had a lot of exceptions.
Yeah. I mean, this also. Yes, bro. Please.
Jeremiah's Prabhu came to like here like
Uh-huh.
a few months ago. He said that he made a vow that he will never leave Mayapur.
Oh, perfect.
But
Oh,
to
yeah.
preach, he
Yeah.
went across all the world.
Yes, yes, amazing, amazing. I also remember one pastime of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, wherein you remember how he took sannyas?
He gave himself sannyas
He gave himself sannyas initiation. Like put his Guru Maharaj photo in front of him and gave himself sannyas. Scripturally, it is not recommended. There should be a senior sannyasi who should be giving you sannyas. But that's how Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur taught us, that we should be, the focus should be always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. And for that, whatever we need to do, we need to do. Yes.
So, like the four related principles and all those things that we're told to do, all of those rules are also subservient to that one rule. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna.
Like for example.
Huh?
Like for example, any.
I don't have an example. It's just like there's so many rules, right? Like chanting 16 rounds.
Yes,
following the four
but
rules.
again, Prabhu, that's what I'm saying. There's exception, like some cases it's fine, not every time, right? There are certain basic standards that we have been asked to follow, like chanting 16 rounds daily, following 4 regulative principles. Do we know why we follow 4 regulative principles? Why Prabhupada gave those principles only? Yes. Yes, Prabhu, this time you.
It makes us a human.
Yes. Anything? Yes, Prabhu.
So each of those represents 4 pillars, like
Yeah.
cleanliness,
Yes.
austerity, mercy,
Yes.
truthfulness. But also those qualities bring us to the platform, the mode of goodness.
Mode of goodness, Brahmanical life.
Yes.
Keeps
Like-
us sober.
Keeps us sober, right? Because unless we are at that platform,
We cannot.
we cannot progress further. Because you cannot make a tamasic person or a sattvic person to bring him to a Suddha Sattva level, like bhakti level easily. You have to bring him to Sattva level first, and then Shuddha Sattva. So that's a progression. Okay, yes, Prabhu.
I just want to share with this thing. So it might be a little personal example, but
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes, as you mentioned, like there are exceptions. So
Yeah.
this happened with me actually. Basically, Nityananda Prabhu.
Mm-hmm.
Now he serves Maharaj a lot. Sometimes he's just massaging Maharaj's feet
Yeah.
till 11 and 12.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know we were going to I think Montreal or somewhere. So
Mhm.
we went in the morning, and in the night we were going to Orva. So he was just driving, and
Mhm.
he was feeling sleepy.
Mm-hmm.
Now ideally, none of us drinks coffee or something
Mm-hmm.
because that breaks the rule of intoxication.
Right.
But at that time, even Maharaj suggested him, I think you should get something
Yeah.
so that we can serve Krishna in a better day,
Yeah.
so that you don't feel sleepy
Yeah.
and something.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. Thank you, Prabhu. I mean, that's what it is, right? Like when we share with each other, we understand like the practical application of our scriptures. We understand what even Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada is trying to say here. That we shouldn't follow rules and regulations just for the sake of following them. We should understand the essence behind it, and then we follow them. Right? Okay, so we'll continue from the reading. Who wanna read? Okay.
One should also avoid association with Mayavadis, who
Mhm.
simply blaspheme Vaishnavas, devotees. Mukti kamis who are interested in material happiness, mukti kamis who desire liberation by merging into the existence of the formless absolute Brahman, and siddhi kamis who desire the perfection of mystic yoga practice are classified as atyaharis. To associate with such persons is not at all desirable.
You can continue with this. There's another small paragraph, right? Yeah.
Desires to expand the mind by perfecting mystic yoga, merging into the existence of Brahman, or attaining whimsical material prosperity are all included within the category of greed, loya. All attempts to acquire such material benefits or so-called spiritual advancement are impediments on the path of Krishna consciousness.
So Prabhupada is talking about two principles here. One is Janasangha and one is Lolyam. right? Now, in Janasangha, if you see, there are three types of Janasanghas that we do. One is with Bhukti Kamis, people who are into material enjoyment. Another is Mukti Kami, people who are actually looking for freedom from material miseries. And third is Siddhi Kamis, people who are mystic perfectionists. I mean, those who are actually looking for some siddhis to, to control over this world, right? Now, there's an example that I think of actually. So there was this sadhu who was doing tapasya in Himalayas for so long, for so many years. Why? Because he wanted to know the siddhi of walking on the water. Finally, when he came back to his village, and then he actually performed that feat in front of the villagers. They were so surprised. Okay, you know so much. I mean, you can walk on water now. But there was an intelligent man, a devotee, who came and said, okay, you're doing something which I just pay for 1 rupee to cross the river. Right? What is the use of all these things? And our efforts are not directed towards Krishna. Right? And if you see, the jalolium comes because we have restlessness of our mind. Our mind makes us run here and there. And because it is asthir, that's why we run away, we run around here and there for things that we don't need. Still we try to acquire those things. Now, the remaining reading of this text, if you see, talks about the benefits of avoiding these 6 qualities. So, who want to read? But any questions so far, I mean, till now on this? Yes.
So, do we fall under the Mukti Kami stage if we want freedom from material miseries, but not in the mind-body way?
No, so we actually are trying to be a bhakti yogi. Our intention is not to be free from material miseries. Our intention is to be engaged in the service of Krishna. So if you see this, so I remember this lecture of Prabhupada, wherein it's a very famous lecture in San Francisco. Prabhupada gave Rath Yatra. So Prabhupada actually explained the meaning of Mahamantra that we chant every day. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So one of the meaning which Prabhupada gave during the class was, O Srimati Radharani, O dear Krishna, please engage me in your eternal, loving, devotional service. Right? So we are not aspiring for mukti. We are just aspiring to be internally engaged in the loving, devotional service of the Lord. So mukti is not our goal. If we get it, it's good. If we don't, that too we are happy. Yes.
But that is something that we're that we want to. That is the mood that we want to have, right? But for example, me, for now, I know that I should want to develop love for Krishna, but the desire for not wanting to suffer materially, it sometimes overpowers when
Absolutely.
I'm going through something, right? So, what about that?
It happens because, see, again, if you see, Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada has mentioned 3 stages of sadhana bhakti. One is Kanishta stage, one is Madhyam, and then one is Uttama. So at which level we are at, that will define our consciousness. So if we are at a Kanishta stage, we'll think of liberating from this mud because we are suffering too much. And that's what we are. Most of us are at Kanishta stage because our goal is something which is, it's very lucrative to us, right? Getting liberated because we are suffering so much in this world. But those devotees who are actually Uttamadhikaris, they don't think at that level. For them, they don't mind coming back to this world again and again because they are ready to suffer. And if you see, Prahlad Maharaj was having that mood. That's why he's one of the Mahajans. Because he doesn't mind suffering for everybody. Till the time everybody goes back to Godhead, he doesn't want to go back. He wants to stay here. And if you see, I think it was Mukunda Datta, or I don't remember, when Prahlad Maharaj appeared as again in Chaitanya Leela, he was having the same consciousness that let others go back and give me all the sufferings of others. That's what he prayed to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
There is an Upanishad about this as well.
Which one?
I don't know the name, I can explain. So the person went to forest. There was a sage, and he asked for a child. The
Mm.
sage said, "It's not your destiny," but still he
Mm.
asked for a child. And his wife used to be very, I would say, miserable. Like
Yeah.
I think you know what I'm talking about, if I'm not wrong. That she used to curse him
Mm.
a lot. She used to fight with everyone,
Mm.
though they have a lot of money,
Mm.
and still she was very miserable. And then he was like, I'll die if you don't let me have a child. So, like, seeing this devotion to have a child, sage gave him, like, after doing sadhana, he gave
Yeah.
him a fruit, like a laddu.
Yeah.
And then her sister, like the wife's sister, was clever, and they don't have much money. So,
Yeah.
and the wife said, I would have to go through pain, like
Uh-huh.
giving a birth to a child is very painful.
Yeah.
And if somebody comes to loot us, how would I run with
Yeah.
a big belly and all? And then she was like, she don't want to have a child. And then her sister was pregnant, and then she said, I'll put a pillow or something and act like I am pregnant, and then when some later I'll say, oh, the kid,
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know what we call it, miscarriage.
Yeah.
Miscarriage happened, and then her sister's son was born, and they adopted them, and then they told, this is my child only. And the laddu was eaten by a cow, and the
Cow gave birth to a calf.
a human, like only the person has ears like cow, rest is human.
Right.
I don't know the name of his.
Yeah, I know. I've heard this story. I've heard this story.
And then
Gokarna, right?
Eh?
Gokarna.
Yeah, something.
Gokarna story. I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
this. Yes.
And then when the child was their, like, maternal aunt's child, they used to was involved in all the
Mhm.
Gokaran,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he used to beat their family. He used to finish all the wealth. Used to go to Vaishyas, spend all, like, he did all the Panch Mahapa.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Gokarn was so divine that he still used to be like, okay, he's my brother. And then one day they asked for, somebody asked for necklace, like the Vaishyas, and I don't know how he bought, like, I forgot. But and then Vaishya thought, like, he can do anything for us, and he robbed someone to get us a necklace. If king would find out, they would kill us as well as him. So it's better we should kill him. So
Right.
he did so much for them, and even he got killed, and he was never even burnt.
Right.
Like ritually we have to burn our bodies, and then they buried him.
Right.
And then his spirit was, like, his spirit did not get free, like his spirit was roaming. So Gokarna read Srimad Bhagavat,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like there was somebody who told him, like, you have to read Bhagavat, then only he can be freed.
Mm-hmm.
And Gokarna read Bhagavat. There were some people who were not able to, like, from Swarg somebody comes
Uh-huh.
and put mala
Right.
on them and takes them to, like, Golok. And some people were not taken, and he asked, like, why these people are not taken.
Right.
Golok, the person who comes, they said, let's go, like, I'm
Right.
here to take you as well, because you did so much good job and all that. And then he said, no, I won't go until I will let these people go first. Like, and then
Yeah.
he did Srimad Bhagavat again, and then everyone listened very carefully, and like, in spiritually, like, that this is the only way. And then only after that he Gokaran went, because he wants them to go first, not like he was not selfish, that he wants to, like, because if you think liberation, everyone's goal is liberation, like, in the end, like, to be free and to be in Golok is like to be in the service of Krishna forever.
Mm.
But he said, like, my goal is for these people, even dogs were taken at that time to the Gulok. So this was.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Prabhu. So, okay, I'll ask you something. Imagine if Krishna comes and appear in front of you right now. What will you ask him? Or what will you tell him? Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, so I think I had the spoiler, that's why, but from like when we read 7th canto, then Prahlad Maharaj was concluding itself that association of pure devotees.
No, but you tell me, what will you tell from your heart? Something which
You ask.
you will ask.
Well, my mentor has like given me 4 or 5 lectures on these things, and like I'm pretty sure about this.
No, be honest with yourself. Prabhu.
Prabhupada.
What will you ask for?
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada. Okay. Okay. What? Yes,
I
Prabhu.
asked to go back to
You will ask for Goloka.
or like
Okay.
the highest Vaikuntha.
Vaikuntha. Okay. Yes, Prabhu.
I will ask nothing else, just to be in his like feet, either in hell or heaven.
Okay.
Where
Okay. Anybody
he is
else?
also called Raja of Patal Lok.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all loks. So
Yes. Anyone else? What about you? Will you ask for mukti?
I feel like I was thinking of what I would ask for, and the first thing that came to my mind was I want to deserve to go back, but then I'm like, no one deserves it. It's just Krishna's mercy.
Yeah.
So I would ask for I would ask for the right mood to be able to openly receive that mercy, I think.
Yeah. Ultimately our response will be dependent on our consciousness at that moment. Right? It actually answers your question that you were mentioning, right, of mukti. Why we are asking for mukti? I mean, we are also aspiring for mukti as a devotee because our consciousness is still at that level, and that's why we are aspiring for mukti. But once we progress in our bhakti, our goal will change. Right? So that's what happens. And that's why it is important that we always associate with Uttamadhikari, people who are higher than us, because they are the one who can actually pull us up. Right?
Prabhu, okay,
Yes,
so
Prabhu.
I just have one last question. Because whenever I hear this term, like Ganesh, Madhaman, Uttaradhikari, I think I asked you this question before too.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you differentiate? Because you are supposed to be like the most junior, like you must feel yourself to be most junior when you are sitting in that room.
So there is a description given by Srila Rupa Goswami of each of these like devotees, like how they behave, how they are. It will come in future verses. I don't have it in my memory. Like I don't remember it completely, but I know that this is mentioned in the NOI in future verses. He has mentioned that how do you discriminate, like how do you understand who is a Kanishta Adhikari, who is a Madhyam Adhikari, and who is a Uttam Adhikari. So he has given that description, and that description is very ideal description.
So let's say if somebody is a Madhyam Adhikari,
Right.
and then he's like he figured it out, like okay, I like somewhere here, and then he saw somebody Ganesh or like really new devotee, then should he be thinking like, oh no, I'm senior or something?
No, that's what I'm saying. A Madhyam Adhikari will not have that attitude. Okay, if somebody is junior to me, he will not have that attitude of feeling superiority over that person. He'll always feel my service is to serve this person in my capacity and be compassionate towards him, because I know this person is still progressing in bhakti. So it is my duty or my seva towards Krishna to help him come to a certain level in bhakti. That person will never think. That's what I'm saying. When somebody becomes a Madhyam Adhikari, his consciousness changes.
that's if they think like that's 5 out of 5 indriyos, that he would have hankar. That hankar is against all this. If like anyone who is senior than you, if they think, sorry I'm interrupting you first of all, that if they think that they are superior, then it's not them, it's their like hankar, like I don't know English word,
You.
ego. Ego is talking. So ego would not be there in that person. If it's there in that person, then he is not at that level. That would
Oh,
give you clear cut definition.
yes.
Any type of ego, not just spiritual or any. If that person, even he is like 20 years elder than you, he respects you, he behaves like he is just as a servant, then he is like what you are expecting to him to be. That would clarifies all the images.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
But Prabhu, there is a description given by Sri Rupa Goswami Prabhupada about each of these adhikaris, how to understand, how to discriminate. So that, I think we'll come to that afterwards. But I understand your question, right? It's not easy to discriminate like who is Uttama, who is Kanishta between the community that we have here. But again, we ourselves should always consider ourselves as junior, like servant of everyone. Like if you see Mahaprabhu's principle was that only. He gave only 8 verses of Shishachakam throughout his life. And the essence of that was Trinadapi Sunichana, Tarodavi Sahisuna, Amanena Varendana, Kirtanya Sadahari. Yes. Right? So yeah.
I have one question. How
Yes.
do we like make sure that ahem and ahankar does not come in us? Because at some point of time, everyone feels like I comes in that, like, you know, I think you understand.
So your sadhana will help, Prabhu. Your consistency in sadhana, sincerity in sadhana will help you come over this. And it's not easy. And sadhana is one part of it. Second is mercy. If you see Damodar pastime is also that. 2 finger shot. One is our prayas, our purusharth, and second is mercy of Krishna. So you continue to do your part and let the results leave it on Krishna. We don't think, okay, now after doing 1 year of sadhana daily, now my ego will go. It won't go. Because you are stuck to the result of it, of your sadhana. And that's what Krishna is also trying to say, Arjuna, that don't worry about the results. Do your purusharth and leave the results unto me. Even as sadhakas also we should focus on that. Do our sadhanas, don't have any expectations of the result of your sadhana. Okay, now I'm chanting, I'll get such and such siddhis in my life, or I'll get such and such fortune in my life because I'm chanting Krishna's name every day. Don't have any expectation. Yes, bro.
I used to be like that. Every time I would do some service with the expectation that Krishna would fulfill certain desire. So I'd be like trying to cash in a check,
Yeah.
cash in a coupon. Or Krishna, I did this for you and I want this in return.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to be like that.
This happens. I mean, this happens with most of the devotees actually, who are still sadhakas. We are still practicing devotees. We are still students in ISKCON. Right? Okay, so I have a deal for you. Do you want to complete the reading of this chapter because only 2 or 3 pages are left? Or do you want to continue next time?
We can do that.
You should take a vote.
Or do you want to?
No.
Are we gonna read it all, or is it like?
Yeah, you
Like
explain?
one by one, like.
Who wants to complete the
So
chapter?
we'll read it all and then discuss in the next class?
I mean, if you see the remaining part doesn't have much to discuss. But if you have any question, we can take that up after the class.
We
You can
need to spend
finish.
some
You
time.
can finish.
Okay. So who wanna read next?
Me, it's me.
Yes.
Can I just read it?
Okay.
Modern warfare is between capitals and communists. Wait, I read from here. Actually, modern warfare waged between capitals and communists is due to their avoiding the evidence of Srila Rupa Goswami avoiding the advice of Srila Rupa Goswami regarding Atyahara. Modern capitalists accumulate more wealth than necessary, and the communalists, envious of their prosperity, want to nationalize all wealth and property. Unfortunately, the communists do not know how to solve the problem of wealth and its distribution. Consequently, when the wealth of the capitalists falls into the hands of communists, no solution results. Opposed to these two philosophies, The Krishna conscious ideology states that the wealth belongs to Krishna. Thus, unless all wealth comes under the administration of Krishna, there can be no solution to economic problem of mankind. Nothing can be solved by placing wealth in the hands of the communalist or the capitalist. If $100 bill is lying on the street, someone may pick it up and put it in his pocket. Such a man is not honest. Another man may see the money, and decide to let it remain there, thinking that he should not touch another's property. Although the second man does not steal the money for his own purposes, he is unaware of its proper use. The third man who sees the $100 bill may pick it up, find the man who lost it, and deliver it to him. This man does not steal the money to spend for himself, nor does he neglect it and let it lie in the street. By taking it and delivering it to the man who has lost it, the man is both honest and wise.
Next, yeah.
Simply transferring wealth from capitalist to communist cannot solve the problem of modern politics, for it has been demonstrated that when a communist gets money, he uses it for his own sense gratification. The wealth of the world actually belongs to Krishna, and every living entity, man and animal, has the birthright to use God's property for his maintenance. When one takes more than his maintenance requires, be he a capitalist or communist, he is a thief. As and as such, he is liable to be punished by the laws of nature.
The wealth of the world should be used for the welfare of all living entities, for that is the plan of Mother Nature. Everyone has the right to live by utilizing the wealth of Lord. When people learn the art of scientifically utilizing the Lord's property, they will no longer encroach upon one another's right, then an ideal society can be formed. The basic principle for such a spiritual society is stated in the first mantra of Sri Isopnishat. Isopnishat.
ईशावास्यमिदं सर्वं यत्किञ्च जगत्यां जगत् तेन त्यक्तेन भुञ्जीता मा गृढ तस्य स्विद्धनम्. You can read the translation also. Yeah. Translation.
Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota, and should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong.
Krishna conscious devotees know very well that this material world is designed by the complete arrangement of the Lord to fulfill all the necessities of the life for all living beings, without them having to encroach upon the life of rights of one another. This complete arrangement affords the proper quota of wealth for everyone according to his real needs, and thus everyone may live peacefully according to the principle of plain living and high thinking. Unfortunately, materialists who have neither faith in the plan of God nor any aspiration for higher spiritual development misuse their God-given intelligence only to augment their material possessions. They devise many systems such as capitalism and materialistic communism to advance their material position. They are not interested in the laws of God or in a higher goal, always anxious to fulfill their unlimited desires for sense gratification. They are conspicuous by their ability to exploit their fellow living beings.
When human society gives up these elementary faults enumerated by Srila Rupa Goswami, Atyahara, etc., all enmity will cease between men and animals, capitalists and communists, and so forth. In addition, all problems of economic or political maladjustment and instability will be solved. This pure consciousness is awakened by the proper spiritual education and practice offered scientifically by the Krishna consciousness movement.
The consciousness movement offers a spiritual community that can bring about a peaceful condition in the world. Every intelligent man should purify his consciousness and get rid of himself of the above mentioned six hindrances to devotional service by taking wholehearted shelter of the Krishna consciousness movement.
Thank you. What does it mean by, like, why is Prabhupada using movement here? Like the word movement.
Like detaching from the materialistic things and getting at taking the path to spiritual world.
But why Krishna consciousness movement? Why ISKCON is a movement? Yeah.
Taking shelter of Krishna might be a tall order for someone. So if you just stick to this process, taking shelter of the Krishna consciousness movement is the same as sticking to the process. So if you just stick to the process, then you'll be fine. I think that's what Srila Prabhupada is trying to say.
Anyone else? Okay.
Through this through this movement of consciousness, you will get to know what things you have to do, like your rights. Being a human.
See, when Prabhupada is mentioning Krishna consciousness movement, he's actually trying to say that we shouldn't become an establishment. Right? An establishment is something which focuses on only organizational skills, organization, like, having like proper organization of ISKCON. Prabhupada is trying to have that, instill that mood of movement in our hearts, that you should always be enthusiastic in your sadhana bhakti, right? Because we are warriors. Every day we have to go, to fight our daily battles at mental level, battles at physical level. And that's what Prabhupada is trying to say, that we have to have a sustained enthusiasm in our bhakti. Because when it becomes an establishment, you'll become lethargic, you'll become complacent. And having a movement means there is a movement, like, there is a movement, like there is no stagnancy in the thing. So that's what Prabhupada wants us to be, like always enthusiastic. And if you see, remember Prabhupada also mentioned that about book distribution, that my books go out, are distributed only because of the enthusiasm of my devotees. Because I remember there was one devotee, someone sannyasi mentioned to Prabhupada that we can place these books in the library, in the bookshops. But Prabhupada said that won't help, because books are distributed only by the enthusiasm of devotees. So one should have that daily enthusiasm. And in the next verse, text 3, Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada talks about that enthusiasm. Utsahat, Nisayat, Dhairya, Tatkat Karma Parvartanat. I don't remember the Sangatyagat Satavrite, Shadpir Bhakti, Prasiddhyati. Right. So that will come in the next verse. Any questions so far? Any reflections? Any comments? No? Amazing.
One question about plan.
What?
Plan, here it is mentioned to plan something, I think, I don't know who read. Plan.
Where did you read?
You control it, search the word plan. Yeah.
Plan of Mother Nature?
Yeah. Maybe this one or
Plan of God?
Yeah, this one. So, like if everything is by Krishna's will,
Mm-hmm.
what should we plan? Who are we to plan something for? Like, when he decides, he will give. Okay,
Right.
when he will give. So, what we should plan when he will.
We have free will, Prabhu. We have free will, and we can utilize that free will to do our sadhana, to be a God-conscious person. And we can also misuse our free will to be a materialistic person.
Okay. Also,
Right.
You are differentiating in that sense, like the sadhak to
That's what Prabhupada is also trying to say, right? People who are materialistic, they don't have faith in the plan of God. They do their own things whimsically. Right? Okay. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.